Losing 1-0 at home to Costa Rica was not the dream start Alex McLeish will have wanted to mark the start of his second spell in charge of Scotland, but it was still disappointing to hear boos ring out at the final whistle. It was a friendly match against a very experienced team that reached the quarter-finals of the last World Cup in Brazil and are heading back to the finals in Russia this summer. I don't think many Scotland fans could or would have expected to win comfortably. There's no denying Scotland are in a transitional period right now. Gone are the days when James McFadden was scoring the winner against France, when Barry Ferguson or Scott Brown was bossing the midfield, or when Colin Hendry was commanding in central defence. This is not the Scotland of old. It's a fresh start, so it was good to see McLeish use Friday to have a look at a group of new players who could serve Scotland for years to come. It's great that he gave 5 first caps to Scott McKenna, Scott McTominay, Kevin MacDonald, Oli McBurney and Jamie Murphy. But introducing players to the national team comes at a cost. When you are first called up into a national team squad, it's all about finding out what it's like, getting to know your new teammates and the people behind the scenes. When you are first in a Scotland team, especially when you are still young, it's a nerve-wracking experience. You've got all your friends and family watching and you are desperate to impress on your first appearance. But the more experienced guys won't be worrying about all that. They will just be thinking, let me go out and do my job. Alex McLeish is experienced and he knows that. And that's why he gave so many debuts against Costa Rica, with more set to follow in Hungary on Tuesday night. He wants these new guys to find their feet right now because there are bigger games on the horizon. Those are the times when he will need all of his players to feel comfortable and to feel they belong at international level. I know from my own experience that it took me a couple of games to find my feet at international and European level, but once you've had a taste of it once or twice, you get a real feel for what is required. So, despite the disappointing performance and result, I really feel it was an intelligent play by McLeish to give fresh blood a chance against Costa Rica. Now, for the Hungary game, I'd like to see John McGinn getting a bigger run out than the 8 minutes he got last Friday night. He is the main man at Hibs and he's got a captain's mentality there of listen boys, you follow my lead. But the coaching staff at Easter Road say sometimes when he feels like the main man he tries to do too much and it takes away from his own game. He needs to strike a balance between encouraging his teammates but not doing their jobs for them. So it would be interesting to see him starting against Hungary, when he is surrounded by players of his own ability, who know how to do their own jobs. In those circumstances, can McGinn concentrate on being the strong, driving force that we all know he can be in midfield for Hibs? It would also be interesting to see John McLaughlin, the Hearts goalkeeper, getting his chance. Scotland have been blessed by good keepers coming through at the same time, like Craig Gordon, Alan McGregor and David Marshall. But, other than McLaughlin, there are not really others who stand out as top keepers. McLaughlin's done very well at Hearts this season and it would be interesting to see how he handles the step up to international football. Of course, McLeish will be wanting to win tomorrow night. There's no question about that. But he should not be under any pressure to win. There's no point in putting out a team and winning a friendly but not trying things out and learning about your players, your team and your squad. I reiterate, these early matches are all about McLeish looking at all his options and then picking his best team when the big matches come around. Gordon Strachan eventually came to the realization that the Celtic players were crucial to the national team's chances of success. And I think the Celtic players, Kieran Tierney, Callum McGregor, Stuart Armstrong, James Forrest, will all play vital roles under McLeish. Lee Griffiths will be crucial. McBurney did well against Costa Rica but I don't think Scotland have any other forward who can reach Griffiths' levels just yet. Right now, McLeish needs to use the friendlies against Hungary, then Peru and Mexico in the summer, to cast the net wide and have a look at everyone who can help those established international guys and Scotland's long exile from major finals. It's a longer-term project. I'm not talking about a year or two but when the Nations League starts later this year and then when the Euro 2020 qualifiers kick off. Only then can Alex McLeish's new dawn for Scotland be judged by the Tartan Army. Tom Rogic and Stuart Armstrong are both out of contract in the summer of 2019 and they are free to talks to clubs from next January. There have been rumours about interest in both from south of the border and, in this day and age, footballers know their worth. Agents will tell them what money is on offer and that the wages in England can be double, even treble, what Celtic can pay. One thing that Celtic have done for many years, not just in my case, but with players I shared a dressing room with, is to take it down to the very last minute before offering a contract they feel will just about do it. That's why Celtic lost people in the past like Gary Hooper and Joe Ledley. People who should have never left Parkhead but walked away almost in tears because the club wouldn't give them what they were worth. It's difficult to see your teammates go through these tough contract negotiations when you know they are not asking for the world and that they could easily get double or treble elsewhere. Armstrong is a big player for Celtic and so, too, is Rogic, but they will know there are boys in the dressing room on more money than them, while the manager is the highest paid at the club. Celtic, of course, shouldn't burst their pay structure for any player, but it would be a shame to see more key players leaving because they are not being offered what they are worth.